What's good, YouTube? And welcome to the house. I, like many others, was singing Konami's praises for including the entire Primite package together. Suddenly, a random piece wouldn't become expensive out of no- Oh wait, forgot about short prints, didn't we all? Yeah, side sets, short prints, and now Primite Lordly Lode's reprint of all things is as expensive as the OG print in less than a week. We could have another Mulch Army situation on our hands because this does go with a lot of decks generically, and if we don't see another reprint of this within the tens, they skip on it or something, this once $120 secret rare has pushed back to 1/4 of its value week one, and nobody wants to be opening Battles of Legend. We'll also cover that price point in a bit, but here's the short prints thanks to Gamer's Choice in the secret rare slots. I know there's shorts also in the ultra rares, and I don't have confirmation on those currently, but it seems like pretty much all of the chibis, which I love that. That's exactly what they should be doing. Cards that are easy access already and a new collectible version, and also still giving the secret versus the Starlight rare. Great job. Almost said QCR, gotta get out of that phase. But then this is pretty disgusting. You have Alba, Crowley, the DD, I almost said DDD, the Necros, the Fabled, the Gym Knight, Jirak, and my Discord said that they forgot Jirak Volcano was in here, so that's kind of funny. And then they started arguing about how good, not good it is. Tangents aside, here's your short prints along with Lordly Lode, thanks to Gamer's Choice. I don't have the usual EU sources to compare to this because it's not dropped in the EU for a while. In fact, you could see different short prints just like in Mavens. Remember the situation with the Ishizu cards where the short one place and not the other? Wasn't that lovely? So we don't know how this is going to shake up overseas, but how it is shaping up here is pretty disgusting. And we see that the Gem Knight Nephirim, it's already gone up, double in price from $3 to $6. We see that the DD Count Surveyor is up towards $5 already when it was down towards $2.20, so over a double up there. And I am noticing that like the Galatea is very expensive, even though it's one of the more demanded cards. Kitchen Dragon Maid, did you notice I swapped this out for House Dragon Maid? Maybe you have a sharp discerning eye, but expensive props aside, I said to never bet against Dragon Maids, and that I felt like that was pretty cheap during pre-sales even. It's up there towards a whopping $3 quickly. I just refreshed my tabs, it was towards this 150-ish, and it's already doubled up from that. That's pretty wild. Triple Tactics Talent Ultra Rare is also almost back to where it was pre-reprint, $4 to $5. Well, here's the cheapest ones at $3.40, a whole 50-cent discount. Again, even if they're shorted, I'm not going to knock a reprint like this, but since we missed so many good meta cards within here that could have added some stability, some value, seeing the short prints and how bad the set is already failing is pretty distasteful. In fact, the cheapest boxes are already $55, and that might not seem too eyebrow raising to you, but for a brand new week one set, Battles, which only has one failure in the entire line, this being $55 means the sellers are probably seeing about $42.75 after fees and shipping. And what are they paying on these boxes? Before the MSRP hike, I believe distro to stores, it was like $48 per box, and now I think it's like $52 on the hookup price. Let me know if you're getting boxes and what you get them at as a store, but I would think it would be around $52 to $54 maybe. And so the fact that it's selling at this, and then they're taking the shipping and the fees and saying, get rid of it, I'll take the 20% loss up front so I can go slam this into Pokemon or something. It's not the greatest look. We're on another harsh year for product, and this is not a great feeling. I'm seeing people on Twitter, by the way, really argue for this set, and I'm gonna say it again, this is great for casuals. This is pretty darn good for collectors because it introduces something new and has some cool cards as well in lineages. But for meta players, it's a pretty big fail. And when you miss all three of those marks, and the meta players are who churn value into product initially, you've got a failure of a set, and it's showing that directly on the secondary market here, you can't dispute that so many sellers willing to take a loss means the product itself is failing from an unbiased perspective. I used to be team meta all the way. Streams moved me to team casual and enjoying casual decks and exploring that entire scene. I understand it a lot better than you might think. 2008 champion blood in me. That's almost 20 years ago, okay? So when I say I can see the casual standpoint, I very much can see the casual standpoint at this point in time. And yeah, it's great for casuals. So I understand that maybe vibing a little extra with Twitter and Reddit, but it is not vibing with people wanting to open it. They want to buy the singles. King's Sarcophagus is going up, and you see the quarter century secret rare running out of quantities. So is I'm Seti, which we've already covered before, and this is for Crystron, it's for Orcust, and it's for Stud. And I'm sorry, I always get cracked up whenever I just see Vanity's Fiend and they blew it up for the graphic too. Every time you think something's getting figured out in a WCQ season, Vanity's Fiend, Dragon Link, it's the two, it's always them. And here's the Vanity's Fiend part of it. So yeah, you have the King Sark, Vanity's Fiend with a little cash stun going on in here, and that's a thing to be wary of for the WCQ season. Totem Bird is getting bought out. I believe this is for the MST deck. I talked to the Discord on that. They said you love going threes. People are looking for how threes can go into it. And last time I saw this card was in like 2017 when I handed one to Nim Nim because he was trying to do some spice in his deck. 2 level 3 wind monsters. During either player's turn when a spell/trap card is activated, you can detach 2 Xyz materials from this card, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. This card loses 300 attack while it has no materials. Luckily, we have a very easy access version of this in Synchro Storm, but the secret rares are getting eaten up, and they're not even that ridiculous at this point, despite their buyout. Emergency Teleport went up, went back down, and now is right back up to where it was. So be aware, the dip got bought and it's back up, and there's so many different places this fits in right now. It's kind of ridiculous. There's also so many nice versions of this card. You don't have to be stuck on the QCR, but I saw a conversation, and it's funny how far this has come, where this was on Reddit, to be fair again, where people were saying, I'm so used to QCRs, the Starlights are what look cheap now. Remember when QCRs got announced and people were arguing these were the cheap copy, people would never be on board with them, that they look so much worse than Starlights. Starlights are going to be the best one long term, and now full reverse, people are saying QCRs look better, and I'm seeing that argument not just there, more and more every day on which version is better, and a lot of people are leaning QCR. So let me know your take on that. Also, speaking of iconic QCR, Seal of Orichalcos here is up towards $3 to $4. Tons of sales are going on in that range. You can see the 2s to 3s keep getting bought out, and it's been bubbling up to $4 for some time. This art keeps playing on Pluto TV. I leave that on as background noise for my dogs, and it feels like it drags on the longest out of all the arcs, but it truly is iconic. It has so much going for it, and so it's not that surprising to see it start to climb. What is surprising is the recent sale on the Champion Pack Bottomless Trap Hole at $790, and seeing people buy into major cards for those time travel, time wizard rule changes here in the States. That is a huge purchase betting on that format. Wow. Fire Hand and Ice Hand, I feel like, are some of the safer ones, as people are looking at the formats not as affected, that people will still enjoy playing. And so, yeah, you see these rising up in price. Fire Hand is bought out way further than Ice Hand for some reason, and people are just talking about how Ice Hand, oh, it's too cold. I don't know. It's ridiculous how one goes further than the other. And finally, somebody noticed that some of these retro pack boxes were getting bought up. It's not like they're going crazy, and there's still a good supply of them from different people. Look at that, 19 and 33. But there are some starting to sell, and it's an interesting conversation on this box with the release of Retro Pack 2 coming, and these specific boxes once sold for $200, and they're so much rarer than the little boxes from retail. I want to remind you that Konami re-waved those retail boxes into the ground. There's nothing stopping them from shipping some of these boxes out again with Retro Pack 2 and having both on the shelf for OTSs that want it or something like that. So do keep in mind that they printed this specifically pretty much on demand for their retail boxes, and it seemed like they could just do it again, and I wouldn't bet against that being a possibility for stores to be able to obtain in the future. However, the initial release for OTSs really chokeholded, and this 19 and 33 kind of tells me a different story about people being able to acquire it as time went on. I know people figured out how to order it even past that initial chokehold. I don't know how many ended up out there, but this is the more interesting box. I just kind of am disillusioned with the set, with how they really rammed it into the ground at GameStop's request and Target and Walmart. Like, give us more, it's selling like hotcakes, and they immediately really quelled the demand of this when the whole point is, the nostalgia. I'm again, there's going to be two conversations here of, I always want something readily available versus, well, are these cards really all that demanded in this specific version for this specific thing? The one rewave I think was enough after the initial wave, so having two of it and keeping it like everybody had a chance at this now. But the 5 rewaves and just the real push of this and how everything really fell out. Like, look at the prices on these cards. It's not even worth buying the retail boxes at this point for the pulls with how everything fell out because of how available it became and how people don't even want to bother listing it at this point. It's kind of how to run something into the ground, you know? Thanks for watching today's Market Watch. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy these more in-depth conversations and sometimes hot takes, because I know Pokemon would love something like that for certain sets, right? Like, they would love that availability and to really drive scalpers into the ground. However, this isn't at this point any kind of scalped set. It's like, it's just been pushed to the point to where it couldn't be. And again, I know Pokemon's in a place where certain sets need that, where Yu-Gi-Oh's like, can we just get a good set?